We're going to do a lore-oriented run of Chapter 2 now. And using FreeCam, we're going to look at posters, details. This is a 2024 run of Chapter 2 on our road to Rebirth. Afterwards, we're going to look at the Remake Revisited blog posts that have developer questions. And then we're going to look at the Materials Ultimania Plus version of the script. So links to both of those things will be in the video. So let's do it.
Looks like we made it.
Looks like we made it.
And with nothing but a few scratches to show. Think you might have overdone it?
I followed the instructions to the letter. Maybe it triggered a reaction with the Mako?
Well, let's hope the city's still in one piece.
But the planet's what matters, right? I mean, this must have helped some.
After all that, it had better have. Anyway, let's get going. We in Sector 8?
That'd be just down there.
All right then, lead the way.
You got it.
So what I like about that interaction is that it does kind of characterize that, hey, you know, we still did just do terrorism and there's definite consequences, but we are optimistic about the fact that we might have helped the planet. So it does establish that Avalanche is still in at first. They did try to minimize casualties, but this is still a success in their eyes. And that's important characterization to me because it is very stark. And the morality of it is interesting and still calls back to how wild it was in 97 when this game first came out to be like, oh, we're terrorists. This is wacky. You know, this is a very intense role to be in.
Everywhere.
The air in here reeks. Can't wait to get out in the open. Man, what is that? I've never smelled anything so foul. It's me. Gotta do something about that. And soon.
A lot of people need showers, okay, in this game. So, okay. I do enable FreeCam. Let's look too. So, some cursed stuff that we're going to point out now. Because most of this hasn't been rendered yet, I've got to show you some of the weird, fun stuff we see. But my favorite, okay, we got to find. Okay, this is gonna be shocking, guys. Don't really concern yourself with it. Okay, so this is obviously a big set piece, but okay, I'm sorry to say that this is Aerith. This is cursed Aerith. Look, you can see just the eyes, just like look at cursed Aerith. Yes, yes. Genova 2. Yes. So take whatever lore implications you want from this, but just know that canonically, this is what Aerith looks like until you see her. Like this is when you apply Heisenberg's observation principle to Aerith, she becomes fully textured, and like so you know we're sort of responsible in that sense for her existence. You know what I mean? Enough of that. And I say that, but there's gonna be more. I'm gonna do more weird stuff like that. And I'm done apologizing for it.
I felt that one in my guts.
They just keep on
That's
coming.
what she said.
We need to get out of this place.
Okay, Clark.
Was it the Mako density? The primary explosive? The blasting agent?
Hey, we can figure that out later.
I'm running on empty here.
You can refuel at the base.
Next time I'll have to bring a little pick-me-up.
Wedge is talking about food, you know, which is fine.
How much farther do we have to go?
Not far. That's about as good a place as any.
Stand back then. I'll set the bomb.
Everybody,
Wait to see you, Marlene.
everybody
Can't wait
does
to
a
take
great
hot
job.
shower.
I think one of the most underappreciated voice talents is Wedge, though. Badger does a great job. Badger from Breaking Bad is the voice of Wedge. And I think he does a great job.
Fire in the...
I'm surprised we so brazenly trust Jesse's explosive skills
Sure told those doors.
Let that be a lesson to anything that gets in my way.
after she just planted essentially a nuclear bomb that she thought would only destroy the reactor. Because we don't know that it was a false flag operation. I mean, we, the player, do, but Avalanche doesn't. Yeah, look at that devastation. The music here, too.
No way.
This couldn't have been us, could it?
But what if it was?
What's done is done.
That's right. It ain't pretty, but we can't stop now. This was just the first reactor.
That's right.
And the planet won't be safe till we get the
Yeah.
rest.
Yeah. We always knew this was gonna get messy.
Here we go.
And this is only the beginning.
Y'all gotta look at the bigger picture here. Nothing worth fighting for was ever won without sacrifice. Though you may not be crying out, I know you're in pain, just like the planet. But it's okay, cause I'm here for you, to help take the load off your shoulders. Your fears, your worries, your concerns, and yes, your feelings. Whatever your problem, I got you.
So, what's our next move, boss?
That's easy enough. We get our asses home.
Barrett taking on the mantle of boss and all the weight that carries on. It's great characterization for him too. It's, you can feel that like a lot of it, especially if you have the context beforehand, comes from just this tremendous guilt. So all of that weight causes him to want to carry the burden. You know, it's this sort of course correction for quote unquote failures of his past. You know, like, hey, I can do it now. And yeah, it's going to be extreme. And this is great characterization for Avalanche. They see the devastation, but they're resolved. I find it interesting that it's like, that it's Cloud that says, doesn't matter now. And then Merc's right. You know, Cloud's just pushing the narrative forward. But it gives them this opportunity to springboard off of that and say, hey, this is what we did. These are the consequences. Still worth it. You know, we're in. And great performance overall from John Eric Bentley here. Also, having it juxtaposed with the theme from, like, the Shinra theme. You know, it's like we're still under Shinra's oppressive thumb through all of this.
Open the freight car. Got it?
Okay.
Later then.
Hey, I'd like my money now.
You can have it once we're back at base.
Just in it for the money, he says. Okay.
Yoo-hoo. I don't need to tell you what this is, right?
Of course not. It's healing materia.
You can have it for saving my life.
Just doing my job. Nothing more.
Yeah. Fact is, I'm lucky you were there.
Survival.
The
can be a
grunts
matter of
here.
Luck or skill, and you can't rely on luck.
This is such a loaded interaction because you see his mind, like, he's at first he's kind of apprehensive, like, because internally he's still like a 16-year-old who just kind of clicked into this persona that he's building on the fly. And so he has all this kind of apprehension, and then he just snaps into what would somebody who is an expert in these kind of situations say. And the acting really conveys that well. Like, Cody really conveys first this doubt, and then like a, you know, it's a matter of, he, you know, puts off this idiom, it's a matter of luck and skill. You know, that's what a cool person says, you know. In chat, somebody asked how tall Barrett is. Barrett's like in the 6'6" to 6'8" like ballpark. It's a little unclear because if you actually measure the models, which you can do, him and Sephiroth are the same height, or they're close to the same height, and it shouldn't be 6'6", but that's what like the Ultimania says that Barrett's height is. He's probably closer to 6'8" with his shoes on, you know. Hard to say. You kind of have to, it's weird. Yeah. Zach is supposed to be 6'1", but he's, again, like, people have measured out the models and the heights are not accurate, like, at all. But yeah, Cloud is like on the lower end of 5'8".
Words to live by.
Yeah, well, thanks.
You do know how to use it, right?
You do know what I was, right?
Okay. I was only trying to help. Before I forget, here's a little something extra for being so brave. That really was the ride of a lifetime. Well, see you on the train.
Normally you get extra rewards if you chose the shorter amount of time to get out of there with the bomb timer. In hard mode, it doesn't even give you the option. So that's what that disjointed cutscene are. You do see a lot of NPC reuse already, and that's okay. You know, it is what it is. But This is a top 5 chapter for me, and part of it is the very first time I played through here, this was so mind blowing. Like, the environment is really cool. It's an above played environment. You see like NPCs really come to life, and they're saying horrible stuff. You know, they're talking about how scared they are, how devastating this is. Plus the music. You know, the music is really ominous and sort of lets us know how high the stakes are, right? You don't think this was Wu-Tai, do you? So we're hearing already that we're like kind of on the tail end of this struggle between Wu-Tai and Shinra. I mean, formerly the Republic of Junon. See why this happened? There's a reason. It's trying to justify it, and then somebody being like, I was just saying stuff. Thought the trains had stopped.
God damn it!
Let's head to the station.
Why bother? Because we're not dead yet.
Okay,
To the station.
now let's look at some wall stuff. So,
We need to get out of here.
But we don't know where the shelter is.
in the PS4 version, a lot of this stuff was not very visible, but it is visible in PS5 version. Here's our first little glimpse at this stamp graffiti. So it's interesting to see stamp graffiti because we don't see any stamp graffiti in the previous chapter. We see official propaganda that features stamp. This is graffiti, and it's put here a lot, I think, just because they were trying to texture walls. It's put there maybe too much, but it's also like they're trying to implant in our mind, this is an image that you're supposed to know and supposed to recognize. You're supposed to recognize it as a beagle. They're trying to implant this as frequently as possible without doing it overtly. They do it overtly a few times, but this is a backdrop. Like, you're supposed to see the beagle stamp very frequently and recognize it, so that, let's say, several chapters from now, there is a difference, you're supposed to catch it. You know, that's part of why we're seeing this everywhere. It's like being dumped into our subconscious. Also, Benora White stickers, hair tonic again. More Benora posters that we don't see here, which is just the apple. You know, Chocobo stuff. We're seeing it everywhere here. And let's see, did we render Loveless Avenue yet? Still no. We can still come take a look at... Oh, that's interesting. Oh no, she's there. She's there. Just slipped between... That's an even more unsettling look. I hate that. Okay. Where are you?
Up here! I said look up!
I am looking up.
This could collapse at any moment. If you want up, you'll have to use those stairs.
I love that. She's like, this could collapse at any moment while I'm standing on it. Okay, here's somebody to talk to.
You want to get to the station? You can always climb those stairs. Try picking your way across the rubble.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy, whose sole purpose is there.
It's okay.
If we can't... Like, if we got distracted while we were getting, you know, instructions from Jesse. Also, license plates. All the license plates in Midgar, with a few notable exceptions, say SHR. And each model of vehicle has the same license plate. So we look at the back of this other. See, this will also be SHR. There's a few that kind of like break the number scheme, but we're not there yet. That's actually next chapter we see a break in number scheme. But it's always SHR for Shinra. You know, like, you even register your vehicles through the Shinra company. Like, that's how they run everything. They run the government. You know, there's no Republic of Junon DMV. The DMV is run by Shinra, a company, a corporation. Here's the Twice Ice, formerly Twice Ice sign. Okay. Also, would like to note that a lot of the vehicles look like Volkswagen. Volkswagen famously was famously sort of commissioned by one Adolf Hitler. And it's not just Volkswagen, it's Porsche. One of Hitler's primary engineers had the last name Porsche for that reason. He was a Third Reich engineer, automotive engineer. Oh no! Here we got.
Once they get here, exactly. Thanks.
Could you exactly? It was scary, wasn't it, lady?
Look at all this.
It's worse than the slums. So it's like the slums, the lower plate, are this metric for how shitty things are.
Station's intact.
SHR. So even the ambulances, everything. Okay, so let's take a look at this before we lose access to it forever. So this is this station square. This is what this would look like were we allowed to ever go there. Here are 2 phone booths next to each other. This is where Traces of Two Past takes place, right here, and no other place. This is the only place that there's phone booths, he said, sarcastically. By the way, there's nothing but weird sadness inside the buildings, and that's what you would expect. Okay, but so let's start walking. Oh no! Okay, where are we now? Okay. Now this, for the same reasons that Nibelheim was blocked out before, is pre-rendered. It's pre-rendered in engine though. And it's just because, like, why would you do that if you don't have to? You know, why would you throw these assets on a map? It's just extra work on the processor and the GPU. Oh man, look who it is. I personally loved seeing Sephiroth here. I know this was a divisive choice. I loved seeing Sephiroth here. And you think he's gone, but then no. He is not going away. He is a pervasive element. This is your first real look at Sephiroth rendered in Engine 2, and you get a chance to look at how tall his model is. Like, you come up to his solar plexus.
He couldn't be. But then...
And then you can sort of... So this new environment is sort of created. But on the left-hand side, I love this. On the left-hand side, the building style looks like a Scandinavian town. You'll see the framing. All of this looks like your standard Scandinavian Norse town. This looks like a Danish town. You know, this looks like the way that you see buildings in many parts of Scandinavia. And we recognize that from Nibelheim. So the place takes on, half of the street takes on the appearance of Nibelheim. The rest stays intact. But, you know, we're still in Midgar. You know, we can still look around at, you know, the Midgar skybox. And I think this is where we can see the Avalanche Party creepily relocated, right? Or did I miss that? If I missed it, it's not that big of a deal. Okay. I probably missed it. And this whole scene is like, what was happening? I was just like, oh, we're in for a ride. This is going to be exciting. I'm going to see things I don't expect too. This was one of the first chapters that really sold me on the project. You know? Here we got Genesis again. Love Not War is a graffiti right there. We're just following the specter of Sephiroth. Okay, this is the thing. Setting up the camera. The way that he walks out of frame here, I'll see if I can do it. He just shows up there, and then as you approach, which I'm doing off camera, he just slowly walks out.
You're not real. You're dead.
I am.
I killed you with my own...
Well, you need not remind me. It was the crowning moment.
And this is an interesting... This right here. He remembers that he killed Sephiroth. Kind of. He doesn't... It's like he pulls back before he completes the sentence. And that's already kind of like... Cloud's identity stuff is really accelerated in Remake. Because he conveyed zero knowledge of this in OG. You're going to ask about how do I feel about Tyler's performance? I'm actually a really big fan of his voice. I know that some people really wanted something a little bit... I think, a little bit more gruff and scratchy and full of bass. I think that Tyler's voice is perfect for him personally. That's one of my more divisive takes, you know. I think I think he sounds like he looks. And I also think that since they're really playing into the attributes that he took from Genova, you know, the sort of seductive, mimetic kind of manipulation stuff, there's something really sultry and manipulative about his vocal tone that matches the characterization really well.
Time together. But that was then, and this is now. I have a favor to ask. Our beloved planet is dying slowly, silently, painfully. Can you bear to see the planet suffer? Cloud.
Here's a little flashback.
Were the planet to die, so many things will be lost. Your hometown is so bright.
Such good taunting. Sound of her voice pleading for me to spare you.
Of her flesh yielding to cold.
Saying explicitly, I killed your mother in the most ASMR way. And it's...
That which binds us together would be no more, and I would be loath to live in such a world. Which is why I must ask you this one favor.
You bind us together. Your
It's a
memories.
simple thing. Run, Cloud.
I would hate for us to be separated.
Run away. You have to leave. You have to live.
You bastard! Yeah!
Such a perfect scene.
Good, Cloud. Very good. Hold on to that hatred.
He's letting Cloud know, you know, or he's letting the player know that there's this new level of threat
I'm seeing things. Fumes
attached
from all the Mako, maybe.
to Cloud and Sephiroth's connection to each other. It binds them in this way that makes you think, how do we get through this without Cloud dying then? It was the first thing that everybody thought. It's like, oh, does this mean Cloud's gonna die? It's such a tension builder. Okay, so let's look at some of the graffiti here. All this stuff is stuff that I've pointed out before. But this is one of the first instances of stamp that you really noticed in the PS4 version, in the original version. And it's much... there was stamps before that you could barely make out, but you had to look at in such an extreme level of detail. Here, you're looking at these stamps that are really clear. And here's the weird alien UFO thing. Looks kind of like a Final Fantasy VIII reference, but other people have made very ridiculous claims about it being some kind of, I don't know, indication of a star baby. I want to get into that.
What's going on?
So we're back.
No way we're getting through that mess.
Back in Sector 8.
Go this way.
Anyone help me?
Okay, my baby's at the station.
Nothing. The people who did this are monsters. I'm getting to that station if it kills me.
My baby was in the station. Remember when a bridge fell on the station? Why was her baby just there? You know, like, that's kind of on her, you know? It could very well be like a spouse or a loved one. Or sugar baby, yeah. Yeah. So, next thing I'm going to point out upsets me greatly. It's one of the most upsetting things in this game. Look at this stamp doll. So there's a stamp doll right here. Right here. Cool, right? Stamp toy. Like it could be a plushie or like a figurine. Play Arts Kai. Bobblehead. A Static Arts, you know? Here's why this bothers me. This is the only place in the entire game that this appears. Of all the way, like, this is it. This could have been everywhere. Missed merch opportunity. Like, what? Just, it's cool. And they're just like, nope, we're gonna put it in the trash for just this chapter. And as a stamp aficionado, that makes me feel things.
I repeat, this
All right.
is an alert from the Shinra Emergency Operations Center. An evacuation order has been issued to the occupants of buildings in the vicinity of
The music here is great. I love,
You are advised
and the music gets mentioned in an interview, and we'll cover it. But those chosen by the planet,
Man, what a mess.
so perfect here.
not safe to remain indoors.
Divinity too.
I repeat,
Not yet.
this is an alert from the Shinra Emergency Operations
What if the fires are just?
has been issued to the occupants of buildings this way.
Mom, we want to get our toys.
Vacate the area immediately.
Like in this chapter, you really feel the weight of what was done.
After the station, we'll take that fire escape. We'll put you right on the street.
Okay, you can't rotate the camera here naturally, but you can if you have free cam, and so we can see where we are in relation to stuff, and you'll also see why they restrict our camera access. It's because we're right here. They finally decided to render her. Here we go. Less creepy here. Okay, good for them, you know. All right, more on that later. Yeah, we've seen the ghoul inside though. We know the truth. What didn't collapse? I mean, you're on the upper plate and it's not on the ground, so the plate didn't collapse. You'll recognize this guy as the guy that has sweet dance moves
The announcement said to leave.
in a later fetch quest.
Good thing I stayed put.
Please, it is my responsibility to keep you safe and escort you to the shelter.
Won't let you go.
Intruder escape.
Security's everywhere.
I love that, like, we decide to avoid them and then we just don't later.
Could the mayor be behind this?
Could the mayor
Maybe it's part of a plot to tarnish President Shinra's name.
be behind this?
Okay.
Maybe it's a plot to tarnish President Shinra's name.
The real target was people like us here on the plate. What?
So
Those
this is
filthy
a
slum rats are jealous of
those
everything we
filthy
have.
slum rats. So these are like these upper plate people that are just like looking down their nose. They adore President Shinra. They have zero respect for the mayor.
As the sailor would say, Captain goes down with the ship.
I love this guy's like, hey man, I'm gonna keep this bar open for these. I've got to be able to serve alcohol to these children,
Shinra won't compensate you for all that.
no matter what. This kid with the bowl cut,
You see the army guys? They've got guns.
yeah,
No.
I know, bud.
Station? Gotta take the back streets beyond the plaza.
Random. This is where you go. Dialogue. Oh no, what's happening? The way that we can slowly begin to see the whispers in that scene. This was so wild. Like, oh my god. Why is
You are too
Sephiroth
weak
here?
to save anyone,
Just taunting.
not even yourself.
Are you okay? Hey, are you okay?
Then you get another reality check. Here we go. What was happening had to do with the unreliability of what you, Cloud, see. You know, and so it's slowly subverting us into this anxiety around where we're at. For players of old, we're getting nervous that, hey, is this really what I signed up for? And then the new players who have no context are like, huh, this is a really, I'm not playing with a full deck. There's mystery happening.
I'm fine.
Here, this is for you.
Huh? A flower?
That's right. It's a gift. You know, for scaring those things away.
What things?
Never mind. Think of it as a memento.
Just my luck.
I heard that, you know.
Here's the music. I'm going to say, how much? Yes.
How much?
And I'm going to talk as much as I can right
Well,
now.
That depends on the
Yeah.
customer.
It does depend on the
In
customer.
your case,
It's going to be, oh, free? Hell yes.
lovers
Thank
used to
you.
give these when they were reunited.
Lovers used to give these when they were reunited.
Look, I'm involved in things. Dangerous things.
The way that's built too is it's like the reunion flower. It's, you know, there's ignoring shipper context and just thinking of it from the player's perspective as, you know, hey, we're reunited. You know, and I know that lover isn't the right word for everything, but it's just really good symbolism. You know, this is, here you go. Hey, what are you feeling right now as this music plays? What are you feeling as you're in this spot? You're feeling this nostalgia. You're feeling a reunion with this beloved thing that you have.
I'm sure you are. So?
So keep your distance.
Yeah.
Wait, you think someone's out to get you? Is that what you're all worked up about?
He doesn't really, too. If you look at his eyes in that last piece of dialogue, when he says, so keep your distance, he kind of looks away. He's doubting himself. He's like, am I really cool enough to pull that line off? And again, it's just very consistent with the truth of his character.
Relax. No one's going to attack you. I promise.
Hey, a Mako reactor just blew. You shouldn't be out here trying to self...
Help me!
And through this connection, all of a sudden his eyes widen. He can see them. I would love the lyrics to this song.
Drop your weapon!
Yeah. First, this is our first view of the Whispers. And this is when some people started checking out, and I started checking way in.
Nice meeting you.
Run towards the purple.
Sword on the ground! Right now!
Well, I guess I have to murder you.
Shit. Steady. Gotta give it my all. Let's go.
Okay. So now we can kind of take a look at some of the things here. Notice the weird pricing here. So $3.99 for hot dog and hamburger meat. The pricing on the upper plate is pretty good. Like, if you notice, like, $4.50 for iced tea, it's like kind of what you'd expect, you know, in an American city, like in 2020. It's 2024 now at the time of recording, and inflation has doomed us all, and now all of this stuff would be nearly double its price. Also, I'd like you to look at this. Shinra oil is what that says. Also, it's an octagon if you're tessellation coded. So Shinra oil. So it's weird that they do also provide oil, whatever oil is used for. Oil doesn't necessarily mean gasoline or like crude oil. It could mean like, I don't know, lubricant. Maybe they sell cooking oil. What kind of building is this? Look, it's pizza. They use Shinra canola oil in their pizza. That's what we just figured it out together. It's a coffee bean, this freshness coffee thing, but doesn't it look like Sephiroth's eye? You know, probably nothing. This little boxer here, Velvet Void. There's a sound studio. It's a dog that isn't stamped. You know. All right, let's keep moving.
Nothing to it.
Sector 8 bakery. I do so remember the pricing on the upper plate, and in a couple of chapters we'll compare that to some lower plate pricing, and you can see what the poor tax looks like.
I'll end this. No holding back. See ya. It's over. Going in. Bring it. All right. Let's go.
More Shinra oil. Here's this sweet car. The Beaufort. Ride the Wind. This is major callback. This is just callbacks to the OG and Crisis Core. That kind of vehicle. But you'll notice it looks less like a Volkswagen Porsche made Hitler vehicle.
Just give it up!
No more playing nice.
And sadly, while you're fighting, this fountain gets destroyed.
Bam! Let's do that.
I loved fighting in this plaza. This is, I mean, this is a really brief thing where you're just like, you fight these like NPCs, you know, or you fight these Shinra grunts before you jump on the train, and there's no layering at all. Like, this is such a crazy expansion, you know, to the original segment, but it really worked well. This is one of those expansions that doesn't feel like an ounce of filler. Like, you just feel like, oh, this is what that segment is now. This is the definitive version of the upper plate of the Sector 8 seat, you know?
So much for the direct route. Find another way. Use the rooftops.
Yes, rooftops. Okay, well...
But the rooftops look clear.
Okay, here's one of my favorite little details. is this sign. Artificial Flower Shop. Sunflower Artificial Flower Shop. So why do we need artificial flowers? Because flowers don't grow. And so there's a thriving business to make things look like flowers. Just a fun little world building detail they didn't need to put in there. Like, we know flowers only grow in the slums, you know, in that specific spot. Shinra crates.
Over there! Open fire! Shoot to kill! Close call.
No matter how long you stay down there, those soldiers will spawn to shoot you as you're leaving, no matter what. To give you that sense of like you're escaping urgently. Works well. And then you even see, you know, those guys down there, like you're heading towards that. It's just such a cool chapter. Like, everything's layered well. It doesn't feel flat. It's a very good level. You know, like the stage design is fantastic. One of the most flawlessly designed stages, if not the best stage in terms of stage design. Isn't my favorite chapter, but not because it isn't good. It's because there's just better chapters later, or chapters that I enjoy more later.
Now you're in for it.
Having to hit the guy in the back. I mean, it's just good stuff. Chocobo Show. Saturday and Sunday. Greenpoint Drugstore. Bellwood. A random sign that says Deli Kitchen. Smile.
I see him! No more playing. It's over. Not bad.
Here we got our quadra attack of these posters again for the bike racks. We saw these in chapter 1. Cool Loveless poster. Stamp on the Icicle, which we think is a reference to Modeoheim's abandoned distillery. And then the Adventures of Stamp Book 3. Stamp stands up for his friends. And we see a really big one of these later. The fact that it's Book 3 is interesting. Make Love Not War. We've got this Midgar magazine poster. And this Midgar magazine that this is a poster for actually shows up in the Shinra building later. There's that Corneo art. It's too small for you to make out the words Corneo, but it is there. This one right here. And here's that huge Adventures of Stamp poster. Look at all the fire, right? Like somebody being dragged out of Nibelheim.
A suspect in Reactor 1 bombing has been sighted in the vicinity of South.
Now you're in for it.
Do not venture outside for any need. And then I repeat.
Welcome.
Going all out. Not bad.
Get the bastard!
Now you're in for it. No holding back. That's that. It's over.
It's Jover.
He's here!
Time to get serious.
Shield ready!
Anytime now.
Anytime, buddy.
Gotcha.
More Loveless posters. A train goes by. Let's catch the train. It's almost rendered inside. Check it out, guys. I'm in the train. I can't get off of it. Ain't no getting off this train. Before we end the chapter, let's just look at the overall. The way they build the stage is really interesting. So those are other segments of the map from when we were earlier. Like that's the sectioned off area that we kind of start in. And then there's the reactor as it's not even a skybox. They actually have a fully rendered reactor in the distance to give you that. Like they knew what they were doing. They can make video games. But it'll be wild in Rebirth. It's gonna be a totally different ballgame. You know, giant open spaces. Hey, listen. Don't clamp my throat.
Let's dance, asshole. You're mine. Let's go.
Let's go. Here's one of those fancy French cars that looks like an American muscle car. Okay, and we're nearing the end. All right.
End of the lifeblood. I'm gonna enjoy that.
This had you a few more times the first time I played in hard mode. Okay, we are going to point out.
That's that. See ya.
This one enemy. So, in fact, just because we'll wait till we get in a little better light. But the huntsman, who's like, you know, just like an accelerated version of these same troopers, but they needed a boss, you know, to kind of break it up. But he does have a really interesting design. His shield in particular has this design, and the art here, first of all, this it's giving Ifrit Jin vibes. And Sleep Easy pointed this out in one of his videos, but it feels like very Ifrit-esque. The thing that he's holding that looks like a stave of some form also has very, we'll say, Jin-esque vibes to it. It also looks like Garnet's staff, unrelated. But what's interesting about Shinra and Ifrit is Ifrit seems to be a very heavily experimented upon summon, and you see bits of Ifrit's design in intermission in the Heretic Rayleigh, the diabolic creation boss. There's also a bunch of references in Crisis Core to Ifrit being like heavily experimented upon. It's really, there's a rabbit hole for Ifrit, diabolic Ifrit. And I will post in the YouTube chat the link to Sleep Easy's video on the subject. But it's a really interesting parallel, and this is one of those things that, like, why is this here? It's never really explicitly explained, but it's interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, I'll tear you. I see you.
Oh man!
I won't give up. That's it. It's on now. No holding back. Any time now.
Okay, let's catch this one.
Dude, this is Sector 8, Unit 2. Target is surrounded.
I like this music a lot, by the way. But here, wait. I know that. Okay, and it cuts out before it says it. In Japanese, it says, I know that sword, correct? And so it isn't him specifically saying, I know that that's Cloud. So, but the sword is recognized, and he has a flashback as a result. Like he's like, huh, or not a flashback, but like Genova just doing work on him. Like, look away from this. But then you see him's like, wait, I miss you. I miss our talks. Like it's soft the way that he reaches for him. It's almost like, no, I don't. Like it feels very Kunsel-esque. Yeah.
Guess Cloud won't be joining us after all.
No need to assume the worst. I'm sure he's fine. You saw him in action, didn't you? Guy's a soldier. Goddamn one-man army.
You think he's a keeper?
And it is noteworthy that Barrett has doubts about Cloud here. That is a divergence. Like, not that he has doubts. Doubts, he probably always was a little doubtful and gruff, and there's like tension between them in the beginning part because of the difference in ideology. But in Remake, it is full-blown Whispers need to get involved doubt that Cloud should go on mission 2. Strangely, Biggs is somebody that kind of very intuitively understands Cloud. He's much more charitable in his read of him, but also kind of recognizes that he's kind of like a kid. Like there's something about him that hasn't fully matured. Like he doesn't take, and it's probably because he's around kids all the time, you know? Or it is because of that. Because of the orphanage lore. You know, the Leaf House is his orphanage.
On my go. You had me worried for a minute. What the hell you been up to?
Giving public security the runaround. That's what. Had to draw them away from the station somehow.
Nicely done.
Indeed.
Well, can't argue with results. What?
He's so cool, I know.
Wait. Got a question for you all.
What?
Ever been attacked by an invisible enemy?
What?
Wearing robes. Came and went like the wind.
Wearing robes. So, explicitly, these are robed figures. Okay? And there's a lot of denial about the fact that these are robed figures. Like the other robed figures. Robes. That's the point. They came and went like the wind. Did he feel every bullet? So, what's interesting here is that him seeing the Whispers, him being aware of the Whispers, lends to his lack of credibility to this group. So, the Whispers themselves fed the doubt that caused the Whispers to need to intervene. And it's just sort of an indication of the limitations that the Whispers have. The Whispers are not omnipotent. They are a limited resource, actively and aggressively doing their best. And this is what their best looks like. It's messy.
Thought they were invisible.
They were, at first. Only saw them after she grabbed me.
A new Shinra weapon, maybe?
More like a panic-induced hallucination.
Never mind. Forget I said anything.
Suit yourself. Come on, let's move up.
A lot of people here.
In the freight car, too.
Because of the evacuation order, maybe?
Lucky us. We've got crowd to hide in. Head for the front of the train and hold there.
Due to an explosion at Mako Reactor 1, an emergency schedule is now in effect.
Just get that red filter out of the way.
Cooperation is appreciated.
This is such a cool visual. I remember standing here for a bit going, man, this is cool. I'm just outside, wind blowing in my hair, flower in my chest.
Some people say Wu Tai's involved.
Some people say Wu Tai's involved.
Anti-Shinra folks, but this...
I heard there were anti-Shinra folks, but this is beyond what I expected. So
Nothing happened down below.
yeah, so we're on the train now, and we're in like, to say this is coach class is a understatement. These are probably like stowaways, and so they're sympathetic to the slums.
Maybe the freight car's not so...
Yeah, maybe the freight car's not so bad.
The highway collapsed right in front of me.
Wow, who'd have thunk there'd be people riding in the freight car? Guess they don't have much choice, but rather than me.
Mm-hmm. Hear that? This rich lady. Okay, and then we're in high society again.
It has to be.
So cramped.
Stop that
so
right now! All
cramped.
do is pass out. No thief's getting my
so
money.
cramped.
Are you the one who grabbed my sleeve?
We
Man,
got
everyone's on edge.
Of course they are.
Hey, Cloud.
Stop that right now!
If you're about to unburden yourself...
Hey, you don't make it easy.
That's a
My money.
that's a cruel line. I love it.
Wait, what the... That's weird.
Oh, and who's this? Oh, hello. We get our first glimpse of this ornately dressed NPC.
Will our house still be there? Just leave me alone, alright?
Hey, got a sec?
Have they caught
You're,
the perpetrators
holding
yet?
up pretty well, even after what we saw at the station and all over Sector 8.
I'm a soldier.
Wow,
You see,
my hands are
daughter
still
now lives in
shaking.
Sector
You
8,
get used
so-
to it.
Something to look forward to. Or
True.
maybe not.
Why don't you learn to take a hint, buddy? Yet.
What's the hint,
See, my
Kyrie?
daughter now lives in Sector 8, so... Did Mr. Shinra catch
Oh,
the
good.
bad
She
man?
found her baby. Let's get a close up on this baby. Let's see how unnerving this baby. This unblinking baby.
Did Mr. Shinra catch the bad men yet?
Blink, child. Blink, baby.
The fire was really
Yeah.
big.
Yeah, I don't think that baby's doing great.
Should have never gotten out of bed this morning. Just called in sick.
Yeah, but what if you died?
I can't believe I survived that. I was ready to die.
That guy just like, take me,
The
death.
fire was really big.
Maybe some grounders did it as payback?
Don't be stupid.
Yeah, the slums need power too, you know.
Good thing there'll be electricity where we're going.
I'm sure Sector 7's affected too.
Nah, Shinra wouldn't let that happen.
Little help, Cloud? Please?
No. Goodbye.
What kind of maniacs would go so far as to bomb a reactor?
There he is, Shinra middle manager.
But I heard it was Avalanche's doing.
Really? Aren't they the terrorists who tried to kill the president?
Is there nothing they won't do?
Hey, quit talking out your ass. Everyone knows Avalanche only cares about saving the planet. Hmm?
Just who do you think you are?
A law-abiding, concerned citizen.
Law-abiding? Really?
In my humble opinion, that explosion was a message. A message to the bastards bleeding our planet dry.
Look, I appreciate what he's saying, but you have to admit, this is really puts a target on his back. Anyways, there's that sweet dog tag right there. Barrett Wallace.
Think they got it? Heard it loud and clear? Y'all's masters?
We will not submit to intimidation or violence, but work together for peace and prosperity. That is how civilized people change the world.
I would not be surprised if we still see this guy. I feel like Shinra Middle Manager is coming back. And he's going to have a heroic redemption.
Them's fighting words.
It's what we believe. We all have to follow our conscience, don't we?
We should go.
Right.
Time for a little nap.
The lighting and the aesthetics really good here.
Calm down. It's just a sword.
Calm down, it's just a sword. It's not just a sword. Like, it would be fair.
I get it if you can't. Shower might help. A long, hot one.
Yeah.
Well, I get it if you can't relate.
They'd probably kill us if they knew we were the ones responsible.
That's such a well-delivered line. It feels so, like, heavy.
No, don't think about it.
He's so
They'd
guilty.
probably kill us if they knew we were the ones responsible.
I love that line.
You hear that suit? Shinra Creed my ass.
Okay, so we get the Shinra light bulb. 100th birthday to the Shinra Electric Power Company's light bulbs. You got the Beaufort, music, Clear Icicle. So the one I wanted to point out though is this one. That looks like the sister Rei and Junin is what that looks like. This story that's being depicted, that's being told here, is a Final Fantasy VI reference, and there's a little article about it in the Ultimanias. We're probably not going to go over it. It's not that interesting, but it's just fun that they have little Easter eggs like that. Okay.
Let's get this out
So
of
here
the
we
way.
go. Here's the iconic.
Personally, I find visual aids make the dull stuff a lot more bearable. If it helps, think of it as an initiation rite.
How many times do I have to tell you people? I'm not...
There's such a thing as playing too hard to get. So, here we've got a wireframe model of the great city of Midgar, complete with massive steel plates suspended 300 meters.
300 meters.
Atop which stands a shining beacon of civilization. The whole system is sustained by the Mako reactors, which feed the insatiable appetites of the public.
The train will be passing through an ID checkpoint shortly.
This here is the train's route. As you can see, it'll take us around this main pillar. Look, we're about halfway through it now. They've set up a checkpoint here to scan the IDs of all passengers heading in and out. Date of birth, residential status, criminal history, all that and more is automatically cross-referenced in their databases. Public security wouldn't have it any other way. Heads up, don't worry. Our IDs are impeccable.
This time.
What'd I tell ya? Have a little faith. Won't be long till we reach the bottom. Relax.
Take a good look. It's because of that great big pizza in the sky that people down there gotta struggle to survive. Shinra sucks up Mako, while the soil turns to dust, the air fills with smog, and the flowers die.
Then leave and don't look back. That's what's always worked for me.
Well, that's all well and good, if you're only out for yourself. But the folks down there don't have the luxury of choice, you know?
He's authentically affected by that. Like, it's the first time you see a little bit of his humanity pop out, and he's actually pondering what's being said. He's like
this train, I suppose. There's only one way it can go.
Like this train, there's only one way it can go. All right. So this is the Remake Revisited article. These were all put together in 2022, and we're taking a deep dive into the second chapter of Final Fantasy VII Remake with the wonderful development team who brought the game to life. Beware spoilers. That warning out of the way, let's mosey. In Chapter 2, we learn how to equip, set up materia. Do any team members have preferred materia setups when they play? Similar to the above question, have the team seen fans using specific materia setups online that they had themselves considered during development and were surprised by? As you would expect, there are classics that a lot of the team equipped, such as Magnify and Elemental. Magnify, by the way, is the Japanese term for that materia. It always has been, for all. Many of them also actively use materia to increase the ATB gauge, like ATB Assist. I don't think I saw too many unexpected combinations, but in hindsight, that might have been the breadth of the system was a little too narrow, so I will take it as a challenge to improve upon that next time. And I guarantee that next time, based on what we've already seen from Rebirth, gonna for sure have wild combinations that will surprise even Endo. We see a lot of destruction in Midgar, a lot more of the destruction in Midgar than in the original FF7. What were your intentions with the walkthrough of Midgar? We decided to depict the aftermath of Mako reactor bombing in a more realistic way and on a greater scale. We also increased the extent of the damage that was shown. Another intention was to tie it to the doubts that the characters were feeling towards their action in the story, by having them see the suffering that they caused the citizens of Midgar firsthand as they walked through the streets. And fully agree. Sector 8 was briefly shown in the 2015 PSX trailer. How much did the zone change in development between 2015 and the launch of the game? Development on the visuals was prioritized for what we showed at PSX 2015, and the direction of the gameplay had not been finalized at that stage. We later decided to structure Sector 8 in the following 3 parts. The live section where the players would experience the destruction of the aftermath of the bombing, the battle section where Cloud is noticed by Shinra after encountering Aerith, the battle section where Cloud is attacked by Shinra in the Fountain Square, and pursuit becomes even more intense. The early scenes take place in the busy downtown district, but we paid attention to how the cityscape changes as Cloud is pursued by Shinra and gradually moves out towards the suburbs. And this is from Hamaguchi, the co-director and the director of Rebirth. So this is the stage design again. I cannot state enough how I think this is one of the best designed chapters from the perspective of how it flows. Like, it's got this really perfect mixture of everything you want from this segment of the game, like down to the wireframe model and the explanation to the, ain't no getting off this train, to the Aerith interaction and the flower, plus the new stuff. And I think that's indicative of what 7R is as a whole. Is it's nothing of value is lost, but there's new stuff. We're not gonna lose. We're only gaining. Fans who played the original FF7 were very surprised to see Sephiroth appear so early in the game and taunt Cloud. Why did the team add Sephiroth into the story so early? Is it a way of showing Cloud's vulnerable side early on? There was the intention to show the effect that a most likely imagined Sephiroth had on Cloud's mind at an early stage. But his early appearance was also because his existence had a massive influence on the world of Remake itself, right? So Sephiroth has an influence on the world of Remake. Like, specifically the fundamentals of the world. So not just that Sephiroth is devastating the world because of what happens in the OG. This has a more weighted connotation that Remake itself has an elevated impact because of Sephiroth. Why? Because the question was, why is Sephiroth here early? And it's because he has a massive influence on the world of Remake. Not on the OG, the world of Remake itself. Why are the Whispers interfering with Aerith by the time we meet her? Is she inadvertently interfering with the timeline already? This is a great question. I had no idea what the answer was. The Whispers surrounding Aerith in Sector 8 are not trying to interfere, but are guiding events so that Cloud and Aerith meet each other for the first time here. The Whispers are making sure that Aerith stays in the area and does not run away because of the commotion from the reactor bombing. Now that's still an unsatisfying answer, right? Because why is Aerith running away from the reactor destruction this time when she didn't before? Why do the Whispers need to interfere? Why do the Whispers need to interfere in a way that makes everybody aware of them? There's still an unspoken premise that deviation led to the Whispers needing to get involved. So I feel like this is a dismissive answer. After Cloud fights against Sephiroth, he wanders through the interference clouding his mind. Is the vista he can see beyond the interference Nibelheim from the past? And if so, what were the challenges in depicting it, and what did you pay special attention to? It is Nibelheim of the past Cloud grew up in. We created a dedicated shader for the flashback scene, where his memories are distorted and tweaked the visuals to make it feel like an illusion. The backdrop of the town itself contains wooden buildings set on fire that should not exist there, and we use controller vibration to heighten the feeling of synchronicity between the player and Cloud. Okay, and we did point that out. It feels like a lot of care was taken with the lighting in the scene where Cloud and Sephiroth face off amidst the flames fields. What were the bits you struggled with here, and what do you want to draw attention to? As the only light source in the scene is the flames, we mix multiple different hues of light such as reds and orange to make sure that Cloud and Sephiroth's skin tones did not look too flat. I would like to draw attention to the feeling of tension in the scene and the impression of heat from the flames that cannot be created from just a single color of light. In the scene where construction of Midgar is explained on the screen in the train carriage, many elements have been remade and look great, but we get the impression that the wireframe model shown has not changed that much from the original. Was this deliberate? We did keep it that way deliberate. Shinra has a monopoly on the cutting-edge technology of the world, and the citizens of Midgar reap the benefits of it in their everyday lives. However, the level of technology used to create the different facilities around the city has changed over time, and it was done this way to show that the monitor in the train carriage is a model several generations older than the equivalent system used in Shinra building. As a public facility, it has not been upgraded over the years and still uses the old system. We hope that you enjoyed reading the second chapter of Final Fantasy VII Remake Revisited and look forward to learning more from behind the scenes game over the coming months. Okay, so now let's go to the Materials Ultimania script. Okay, this is the Material voice script, Spectre of Sephiroth Amid the Flames. So this is the voice script, and the voice script, again, is the notes that were sent out to cutscene directors and localization so that the script also had context. So things in red were like context notes, and then also there's scene directions built in. We follow Sephiroth and enter a narrow alleyway. The alleyway is engulfed in flames. It's a similar spectacle to the flame-wreathed Nibelheim we saw moments ago in the illusion. Cloud chases after Sephiroth. It's hard to differentiate reality from illusion. The path is warped and distorted. Just like the previous alley, it's surrounded by flames like the ones raging around Nibelheim. Cloud, this can't be happening. You died. Sephiroth, did I? With my own hands. Cloud finds it difficult to breathe for some reason. He struggles for air. Oh, you needn't remind me. After all, it's one of our precious memories together. Now then, Cloud, I have a favor to ask you. The planet is dying, slowly, silently, without so much as a scream. Our planet will be no more, Cloud. Sephiroth extends both hands. Nibelheim engulfed in flames. We assume Cloud's point of view after he's collapsed, like in the original game. He's looking at the door to his own home, which is burning and spewing flames. Cloud lets out a silent cry. Mom! Mom! Sephiroth off-screen. Should the planet die, this brightly burning hometown of yours will cease to exist. The voice of a woman crying out for me to at least spare her son. The feeling of her flesh as I cut her down. Even these will fade into nothingness. So even the memory of the awful memory of his mother's death will fade. Even that will go away. Cloud confronts Sephiroth, his breathing heavy. To lose the connection that binds us would be more unbearable than death, which is a much thirstier sounding thing, you know? It would be unbearable to lose you, more so than death. Cloud, give me your strength. Come now. It's a simple request. Sephiroth continues to jeer at Cloud. The next line, here's a note. The next line is the last words Cloud's mother spoke, known only to Sephiroth. Sephiroth's tone is somewhat evocative of Cloud's mother. So this is confirmation, and although it was pretty heavily implied, This is confirmation that when Sephiroth is saying, Cloud, run, you have to get out of here, you have to survive, that is Claudia's last words. So it really highlights the level of cruelty that we're seeing from Sephiroth that exists in Cloud's mind, at least. Cloud, don't toy with me! Cloud brings his sword down. Just as the giant blade is about to sink into Sephiroth's forehead, he vanishes like mist. At the same moment, the illusory flames disappear. Sephiroth off screen. Good. Very good. Don't you forget me. Sector 8, real alleyway. A gloomy, deserted alleyway. Mako is leaking from a drainage grate on the ground. Beyond the end of the alleyway lets out onto a large street. We can see that the turmoil caused by the Mako reactor explosion is still afoot. Hi, Charles. Charles is going to join us. Where have you been all day, bud? Here's my cat Charles chat. Hallucinating, must have got too close to the Mako. Oh, I'm sorry. A gloomy, deserted alleyway. Mako is leaking from the drainage gate on the ground. Beyond the end of the alleyway lets out onto a large street. We can see the turmoil caused by the Mako reactor explosion is still afoot. Cloud lets out a long, heavy breath. Eventually, he calms down and shoulders his sword. He lowers his gaze and ponders what just happened to him. A self-deprecating smile forms at the corner of his mouth. Hallucinating. Must have got too close to the Mako. So, he's questioning himself. And also, it's just interesting to note that you just get close to Mako and it makes you see stuff. Right? Like, that live stream is good shit, yo. Okay, Cloud to himself. Alright, better keep moving. And then here's the staff Q&A for this page by Toriyama. The question is, the Sephiroth who appears in this scene and the Sephiroth who appears at the edge of creation in Chapter 18 seem to share a similar goal of ensuring the planet doesn't perish. Are the two related? This is really important because Nomura's comments on the different Sephiroths did lead some to think that maybe there's a Sephiroth redemption arc at play, and one of them's a good one. Here's the answer to that. The Sephiroths who appear at various points throughout the game come in a number of forms, whether they be hallucinations only Cloud sees, or whether they be hallucinations only Cloud sees, apparitions conjured by Sephiroth, figures fashioned by the mimicry of black-cloaked men, or Sephiroth himself. Because all of these beings are under the direction of Sephiroth's transcendent will and consciousness. They come to speak with the same purpose and play with Cloud's emotion in the same toying manner. And then, next question, Sephiroth's line, "It's one of our precious memories together," is reminiscent of Cloud's line from Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, "Stay in my memories." What was the intention behind him saying this? Sephiroth has already physically died once before, yet he considers this incident when Cloud took his life to be one of their defining memories together. Cloud is one of the few people who understand Sephiroth and therefore has the potential to become either a close comrade or a dangerous enemy. I wanted to establish a strong connection between the two and chose to use the word memory with that goal in mind. So right here what we're saying is that all of the Sephiroth forms are similarly aligned in their goals. And they come to speak with the same purpose and play with Cloud's emotion in the same toying manner. And in terms of the memories thing, yeah, it is meant to be a connection to Advent Children. Like, they're not really shying away with it. They're not being explicit about what that connection is, but they're not shying away with it. Ines, are you going to read the other notable stage directions? It covers chapters 1 to 4. So maybe do it after you complete that. Yeah, I plan on doing that after chapter 4. Okay. All right, moving on to the Sector 8 encounter. Sector 8. When Cloud continues on, he finds a woman, Aerith, ahead of him making strange movements. Aerith is swarmed by something invisible, the whispers, and trying desperately to shake them off. When Cloud approaches, the invisible entities seem to vanish, and Aerith breathes a sigh of relief. She looks at Cloud's. Discerning Aerith's face causes Cloud to experience psychic interference, a hallucination. Sephiroth is suddenly standing between him and Aerith. Sephiroth says, "You can't protect anyone, not even yourself." This line belongs to Sephiroth in Cloud's mind. Cloud clutches his head, struggling to endure the psychic interference. He hears, distantly, the sound of Aerith's voice break in reality. Aerith, you okay? The interference subsides, and Sephiroth disappears. Aerith is standing next to Cloud. Hey, everything alright? Bewildered Cloud says, yeah. Cloud tries to continue on his way, but Aerith gets ahead of him and blocks his path. Friendly smile on her lips, she takes a flower from her handbasket with a fluid gesture and offers it to Cloud. Flower peddler. Here, have a flower. A flower? Yeah, as a gift. For driving those things away and rescuing me. Don't know what you're talking about. Then, how about commemorate us meeting? Cloud concludes that the woman in front of him must be some kind of con artist. And he to himself he says, just my luck. But it is interesting that he assumes she's a con artist. You don't really gather that from the English localization. To himself, just my luck. And then Aerith says, I heard that, Cloud realizes the only way he'll be able to leave is by going along with their act. Choice A. How much? / I'm good. How much? Aerith says, the price depends on what I think of the customer. In your case, it's on the house. Leads to the usual flower obtained message. I'm good says, come on, don't be like that. Real flowers are pretty valuable, If you give it to your girlfriend, I'm sure it'll make her day. How much? Price depends on what you think of the customer. In your case, it's on the house. Enough with the sales pitch. I'll give you 2 gil for it. Fine, I take it. Choice B is, enough with sales pitch, I'll give you 2 gil for it. Enough with the sales pitch, I'll give you 2 gil for it. 2 measly gil? Come on, this is the real deal. Add 3 then. Still not nearly enough. Anyway, I said it was on the house. Wait, you're just trying to get rid of me? And with 5 lousy gil? Well, that's not happening. Leads to the flower obtained message. The usual flower obtained message appears. Aerith raises the flower to Cloud's eye level and shows it to him. In the language of flowers, this one means reunion. She fastens a yellow lily, or a flower resembling one, to Cloud's chest, between his suspenders. Cloud accepts the gifts, but still looks at Aerith distrustfully. Don't try pulling anything. I'm a strong guy. Yeah, I got that impression. I won't be intimidated. Ah, are you worried some big scary associate of mine is going to come out and threaten you? Relax, I don't have one. Now, the dialogue is very different than English. Like, the characterization of that is much less friendly, in my opinion. Disbelief is clear on Cloud's face. A Mako reactor just exploded, You better close up shop for the night. Aerith hurriedly tries to brush something off of her as if her body has caught fire. Her sudden behavior cuts Cloud off mid-speech. The Whisper is attacking her, but they're invisible to Cloud. Unable to see what's wrong, his face grows more and more suspicious. Help me! Aerith grasps Cloud's arm as soon as she does, Cloud is able to see the shape of the Whisper swirling around her body. A few of them come at Cloud. He hastily steps away from Aerith and draws his sword. What are they? Cloud is just as perplexed. A whistle sounds. The next thing Cloud knows, Shinra troopers have surrounded him after brandishing his sword. Drop your weapon. The Whispers are apparently invisible to the troopers and drift through their ranks. You can't see them? The Whispers rush at Aerith and Cloud. Looks like you were right. Time to split up. Hey! Aerith's body is swarmed by Whispers, but she withstands the assault. A portion of the Whispers menace Cloud with a whooshing sound. Till next time, Aerith dashes away with the speed of a hare. Whispers she's managed to shake off trail after her. And then here's a great Q&A. Why is it that Cloud couldn't make out the Whispers until after Aerith grabbed onto him? You'll recognize this as typical Toriyama evasiveness. Cloud's ability to make out the Whispers is triggered by contact with the Whispers forming around Aerith. However, contact alone won't cause one to be able to see the Whispers. Only those with whom Whispers have deemed influential to the fate of the planet can gain the ability to recognize them. By the way, although it isn't depicted in the game, the reason Barrett and the others became able to see the Whispers is because they come into contact with the Whispers monitoring Cloud. As for Rufus, he too gains the ability to make out whispers after coming into contact with them during his battle with Cloud. So there you go, if you say so. But so there it is. It's very clear that it's not enough to just touch the whispers or touch somebody that's touched them. You also need to be influential to the planet, which I guess Sung is just garbage. Sung has no influence on the planet. So that's that. That's that for now. And I'll be back with more. I'll definitely do chapter 3 next, and I'll get this uploaded soon. For the folks at YouTube, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Next chapter is going to be longer, and I'll be streaming it tomorrow, uploading it later that day. Okay, guys. Hey, everybody. Schrodinger's Baby Seal back again with even more footage to look